another video today. Today's going to be a super fun video because we are going to be doing a nice little upgrade on the Mitsubishi Evo. The guys over at Reinstallation Equipment actually sent us a nice little care package for us to install on the Evo, which I can't wait to show you guys what it is once we actually get to Steve's house. He's the one with the white Evo that's supposed to be like over 1,000 horsepower. He's basically going to be helping me with the whole install. Anyways, let's get to Steve's house real quick, start working on the mod and fixing it. Let's see what happens. So how much longer till it's done?
I'm bolting up the fuel lines to the mechanical fuel pump.
Hey, what's his name?
Tommy.
Tommy. It's super sick because I actually never really heard of like these kind of things. I always assumed that you would have to get a completely different steering wheel, but with this you could actually wrap your very own steering wheel for super cheap. I ended up getting the carbon fiber version with the red stripe in the middle and leather on the sides. You could actually choose the basically you could choose like your own type of material, suede, leather, carbon fiber. On the steering wheel you could choose like the thread color, stuff like that, and they do go ahead and send you what looks to be like double-sided tape, the thread of course, some type of little thingy knife to basically stuff the steering wheel inside. It does come with instructions as well, just in case you do need help, but if you're more of a visual learner, this video should help you a lot more. This is actually my lighter because I think we are going to need it. Anyway, so basically the first step to do this is to basically, you have the option to leave the steering wheel inside the car and do it there. But we are actually going to remove it just to make everything a lot easier. Again, you do not have to do this, but it will make the install, I feel like, a lot easier to basically get in there and start sewing everything. As you can see, the steering wheel is super old. I mean, this is a 2006 Evo 9, so I mean this car is pretty old already, and the steering wheels are pretty faded and stuff just from plain use. I mean, once we add this stuff, I feel like it would actually look like a really nice like aftermarket steering wheel, and you know, really improve the interior of the car, especially since we got the cage done recently. So anyways, first we're going to go ahead and start by removing the steering wheel, which I'm going to show you in a bit, and then we'll go ahead and start on the actual installation process. Alright, so first step, actually I'm actually going to go ahead and clean the steering wheel, because you want to go ahead and remove any excess oil from the steering wheel, because you are going to be putting double-sided tape and you want it to make sure that it sticks properly. But yeah, this was definitely dirty. Yeah, this thing's kind of tight, but it should work. But I mean, that kind of gives you an idea of how it's gonna look. It's pretty tight. Alright, so once you go ahead and test fit it, you go ahead and open your hood, because we are going to be taking off the steering wheel, and you go ahead and disconnect your battery. You don't want the airbag popping out in your face. Alright, battery's completely disconnected. Now we're going to go ahead and start removing the Evo 8 or 9 steering wheel over here. Basically, you have to go ahead and remove the little screws that are in here on the top here. Take off the cover here. Take off the airbag plug here. Once you have that off, you're going to finalize it with taking off what seems like an 8mm screw down here. After that, you're just basically going to go ahead and pull the steering wheel all the way out, and you should have access. And also, you want to go ahead and remove the steering wheel straight, because when you put it back on, it's going to mess with the whole alignment. Alright, so once you take off everything, you should be able to remove the steering wheel just like that. It's still going to be hooked up to the horn, which is this little guy here from a little crimp connector. Just make sure you remove that as well, and the steering wheel should be completely loose from the car. So let's get to the fun part. This is basically what they give you. Right after we go ahead and remove the steering wheel, you go ahead and get this. This is basically double-sided 3M tape. It's super thin, as you can see, and the instructions basically tell you to put it in basically all the important mounting points. This basically goes ahead and stops the wrap from moving around when you're driving, which is really important because it's, you know, it's a big part of the car. Besides that, I mean, after that we basically get into the sewing part. They do come with instructions that basically show you how to sew. Honestly, I've never sewn before, so this is gonna be my first time too. but after, you know, basically seeing this video, you guys should know how to basically sew just like me. So I have no experience, but after this video we should all be able to basically put sewing on our resume, so should be fun. Alright, so at this point I think we're ready to basically put the wrap back on it. Once we start doing that, then we're going to go ahead and start removing the 3M double-sided tape. Alright, so the wrap is on. You want to make sure it is straight before you remove any double-sided tape. As you can see, the tape is down there. Now I'm actually going to go ahead and go in all the main spots where we put the tape at, start taking it off, and basically try to glue everything as perfectly as I can before we start sewing. Alright, so I went ahead and pretty much stuck all the 3M tape on all the binding points that we put it at. Basically, this thing doesn't even budge anymore. Just make sure that it's perfectly aligned with the steering wheel. And then after that, specifically for EVOS, you could remove these clips. The instructions do say to basically stuff the extra wrap, which is this basically right here, with this little guy. I'm actually going to go ahead and remove the clip specifically for Evo. If you're looking for another car, you should just be able to basically start, stuffing the wrap inside the steering wheel to, get rid of any excess. But I'm actually going to go and remove these clips. To remove them, I think they should just pop right off, which I think this one's doing. Just be real careful because they are plastic and I feel like they could break easily. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take all these off real quick and then get back to you guys. Okay. Alright, so now that the clips are off, we're actually able to go ahead and stuff this. I already went ahead and started stuffing the rear here. As you can see, just be really careful with this because you could hurt the leather or material that you got. Just go ahead and stuff it. Try to do it as good as you can because you don't want this popping back out when you're driving on the street and have to redo it. Alright, so now we're ready to go ahead and start on the sewing part. This is basically my first time trying it, so bear with me. We have the needle here and we have the string here. This is basically what you consider a spoke on the instructions. You want to go ahead and do 3 or 4 times the amount of the spoke length to basically have enough thread to sew the whole portion of it. We're going to go in basically in sections. So this is one section, another section, another section. So we're going to do the 2 easier ones on the bottom here first. Basically, you're going to have to start a thread, which I'm going to show you guys how to do it right now. Alright, so here's how we're going to tie a knot. You basically feed the string through this guy right here. You then pull it to the point where it is basically the same length on both sides, on both the tips here. So now that we have both ends here, you're basically going to go ahead and tie your first knot. So just wrap it around your finger here, and then go ahead and feed it through here. Give me a second, there we go. There you go. So there's your first knot. You do want to tie a second knot just to be safe, so let's do that again. So now that we got this ready, I'm going to basically show you guys how to start sewing. First thing you want to do is grab the needle and basically puncture the inner side of the leather of the wrap itself. Basically back here, you're going to go ahead and push it through the wrap. Alright, so once you feed it through the inside of the leather here, you go ahead and pull it this way and you go towards the first little string here and you feed the needle through it just like this, and you pull it. You want to make sure that every time you pull kind of tight to make sure that everything is tightly secured. This is basically going to go ahead and start the thread. Alright, so once you have that initial knot, I already went ahead and tried a couple. In the very corners, you do want to make sure you go through every single little thread. Once you get towards the middle, you can start skipping to every other thread. So you're going to basically get the thread, go from the back, as you can see right here, push it on the new thread right here, bring it onto the other side, and thread it to the new thread right here on the steering wheel. Make sure you pull tight, and it's basically going to start doing some type of like hex pattern type of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and finish off the remainder of this spoke right here, and I'll show you guys the finished product once we're done. Alright, so we're pretty much filming sewing all this. Learn from my mistake. I was doing every other thread, but once we did every single thread, it honestly came out a lot tighter and with no gaps. So for the remainder of the stitching, I'm actually going to do every single thread just to make sure it's on tight. But as you can see, overall, I mean, it's on there. It looks legit, and it actually looks like it's kind of OEM. So far so good. So I learned my lesson from this one. At this point, we're pretty much ready to end this thread here. And how you do it is you just basically go ahead and tie a knot. So just like how you did in the beginning. Okay. Alright, and then once you have your knot, push it all the way to the bottom. Make sure it's tight. Cinch it all the way to the bottom, and then you're able to basically cut all the excess right here, like this. and you go ahead and grab a lighter. Okay, so the knot's done. You just go ahead and kiss it with a lighter. Make sure you burn off a little bit and it melts off the string right there. There you go, perfect. Alright, so that's all done. We got one side out of the 3. And now we could go ahead and basically finish off this portion. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this portion real quick, and then once I'm done, I'll get back to you guys. Okay, so I ended up getting all the bottom. As you can tell right here, it's a lot better when you do it individually versus every other thread. I'm gonna go ahead and finish off this, and while I do this, he's filling up. What are you doing?
Just painting these letters so they
look good at the track.
Stand out a little better.
This is my first time trying it, so obviously it's not perfect. If I probably did another steering wheel, it would probably come out a lot better. But honestly, I have no experience whatsoever. I would honestly give this, as far as difficulty for a first timer, it's probably like a 6.5 out of 10. It's very tedious. We ended up losing the threads a couple times, and it was just annoying to keep making knots with, you know, short threads. But overall, the steering wheel does look a lot better. I mean, it's just a big improvement over the OEM. All right, so once you're done pretty much wrapping the whole steering wheel, you're gonna go ahead and pretty much install the steering wheel back how it went, which is this bolt, that bolt, this bolt, and of course, plugging the horn and the airbag down here. Once you have it all set, I mean, it should look like this. Obviously, I could have done a much better job. This was my first time. Honestly, in difficulty from 1 to 10, I do give it like a 6. But if I was to do it again, it would probably be like a 3 or 4, just because it's like, honestly, the concept is so easy. It's just getting the hang of the sewing part. And at this point, I'm pretty much only gonna do the point of view drive with the GoPro, so you guys can kind of see how it looks like while I'm driving it. So let's get to it. Well guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed the full installation video of this super nice steering wheel. I'm super happy with it. East Detailing, good looking out. Remember, if you guys want to check out where I got it, the link is in the description for you guys to see. They're super cheap, and honestly, I really like the quality. I really like the feel. And honestly, it's not really hard to do. So, and these YouTube videos are just getting started. There will be a lot more videos coming of the DSM and Evo and other projects. So make sure you're always tuning in, you're always liking, you're always commenting, you're always sharing with your friends. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you on the next one.